Hey, my people. Now, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to all my friends and viewers watching. Today, now, quick news. I want bring comfort now. We could not hear everything they happen for Nigeria. Talking about fuel subsidy. You know, say now so like then they tell us for our government. We know they know it. We know they know what thing they go on. All of us layman will just dey say some go tell themselves say suffer don't don't say whether they suffer so make they just continue not be saying a new thing. Some APC they tell you like that even when you tell them say this suffer no dey tire you go say not being with this since come and hear the whole truth about fuel subsidy not be the one wey they talk not be the one wey they talk. This man, what's his name? Majid Dahiru spilled the whole truth. Oh my goodness. At last, a right-thinking Nigerian now comes to the rescue of the masses. Come and tell us, we just pray that God deliver us from our cluelessness and their wickedness. The argument of this guy counters so many things. Counter the lies spewed out by our government, the info cabal, ruining Nigeria's wealth, ruining us and all their cronies about fuel subsidy. Come and hear the truth. This one not the if I get truth. Before I put the news, now don't subscribe. My YouTube channel, see the link there. Make una subscribe quick. Now tell me say, oh mama, they post anything there. That's why we not subscribe. Now I don't post. You see me now. Don't wear cow get hat. If you are not subscribed, I they come your house. Can't shout, can't open eye for you. You're subscribe. What are you waiting for? They don't they pay. Now carry your phone like this. Boza. Press on. Subscribe to my YouTube channels. Okay? Subscribe to now only one. Then Edit ID and Edit ID Love. So the more I see that you're subscribing and put comments there, give me likes and love. Then I will get strength to do more. But if I don't they subscribe, say I just they put on there. And most of them I will go look video, enjoy and I will not go even comment. Waiting. I will not go even say one thing. I will just look and comment. Not be so that they do. That kind of behavior is not good. I go look, I go write something, I go put like and love. And all of that. Shebi you get. Now so. Okay, so may we go on when I watch this as this news they come out from this man, this truth, the whole truth, not the one where they tell you for APC, down a rubbish. Just come here. The Ogbonge news day for here. Come. When I come listen.
Context of that statement. However, that statement itself is one that is, for me, a product of low level of thinking that characterized the 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. And I would have thought that by now, the least they can do for us is to just keep quiet for now. Let us forget about the trauma that we've been through the last 8 years, particularly in the kind of statements they made throughout, that added to that trauma. This is one of such kind of statements. Number one, it is not true that the former president didn't remove subsidy. He removed subsidy in 2016 when he jacked up the price of PMS from 87 naira that he inherited in 2015 to 145 naira and declared subsidy gone. He did it. But there was a consequence to that action. Nigeria went into a recession immediately. That singular action depressed the economy. It ruined lives. But they did it with the same promise that the current administration has done is that, the price will come down when there's competition, the regulation, all sorts of jargons.
That before you know it, the competition will force it to be like...
When that didn't happen, like
GSM and CAD, I remember
those unnecessary equivalence. You can't compare what happened in the GSM or communication sector with what we are trying to do in the energy sector. They are not on the same pedestal. And so, when the prices began to go up, because at the time you removed subsidy in 2016, international price of crude appreciated a bit, and so what that meant was the local price of PMS, because the importing PMS was going to increase, and his own election was also coming, his own election, so he restored subsidy so that he could also win his own election. Yes, and because they saw the effect of subsidy on inflation, that was the first time Nigeria's inflationary trend crossed the double-digit mark because of subsidy removal. I remember penning an opinion then to say, look, how Buhari took us into recession and hyperinflation was because he removed subsidy on PMS and that he should restore it. So its restoration kind of, okay, mitigated the effect a little bit. And, okay, it didn't get as bad as it is now. So he had to do it for his own survival in government as well. And because, as a matter of fact, this conversation around subsidy, we need to have a rethink about it. This brings me to another important question. Why would subsidy removal lead to the loss of election of a presidential candidate and a party? Because it's a bad thing to do. It is like removing from the people the last, most important, most effective intervention in their lives. So if you know that you're going to do something that will make you lose election, it means you shouldn't do it.
I mean, there's something hazy about what you want to do.
It is simply bad. Look, again, I will insist, people have denounced subsidy for more than 20 years, so that Nigerians began to see subsidy as something that was bad for them, even when it was good. So it was when it was removed now again that we now saw that, oh, they've taken from us the last thing the government was still managing to give to us. Let me restate it here again and I will emphasize it. Energy subsidy, not just petrol, diesel inclusive, electricity inclusive, any energy product and service needs to be subsidized by government because of productivity's sake. No economy survives high cost of energy, none. That is why it is a priority of every government in the world to subsidize food. It's called food security. And subsidize energy, it is called energy security. Governments spend hundreds of billions of dollars. In fact, in 2022, the global amount of money that was spent on subsidy was $1 trillion globally to subsidize energy. As we speak, Germany has imposed a subsidy on electricity and it's going to cost it 5 billion euros for year 2023 for its industrial output. That subsidy entails the government of Germany taking up 80% of the cost of electricity for manufacturers and industrialists. This is in addition to the fact that they subsidize food in Germany, they subsidize education, and they subsidize housing. And they have a social security welfare scheme for vulnerable and indigent citizens. How do you expect a country like China that subsidizes energy with $130 billion, $130 billion as of 2022 alone, to manufacture goods from Guangzhou, and you that is in about manufacturing shoes and pay 40% tariff on electricity increase? How are you going to compete with what's coming out of China, even in that area market, considering the cost of production? So when governments subsidize energy globally, they are doing it to boost productivity. And that's why the narrative that subsidizing petrol was subsidizing consumption is a flawed one. It's one that the media should please stop talking about.
No, but then there's a problem, really, because we've been made to understand, or to believe, really, over the years, that it's just a few Nigerians that are benefiting from this subsidy removal. And that's why Nigerians actually bought into it during the election as they were making it campaign promises.
Those we trusted the most, those we rallied around as champion of the people, lied to us. They deceived us, they scammed us. And then we swallow this poisonous pill. If it is the case that it's only a few people that are benefiting from subsidy, why will it have led to loss of election? And what is the reality today? People are trekking to work. People can no longer go to work. There are fewer cars on the road. The economy is on a downhill. Inflation is setting, hyperinflation and unemployment. People are losing jobs already. Companies are shutting down. You know why? PMS is the most important energy source in Nigeria. Because we are an informal economy generally, and the SMEs dominate that informal sector. And the major source of energy to running any SMEs is PMS. So Nigerians don't consume petrol for leisure. In some jurisdictions, for example in the UK, electricity is their main source of energy. And so that's why the UK government has imposed an energy price cap. What is it called? Subsidy. That is, citizens should be shielded from paying the right amount of price for electric power, because it will disrupt their lives, it will depress the economy. And so the UK government, under Liz Truss, imposed a $100 billion subsidy on electricity and cooking gas. So every government must prioritize energy security, which is affordability of energy and availability, meaning petrol, for example, which runs our economy essentially, should be available at an affordable price. It's a responsibility of government. Governments have been corrupt. The money that they should have used and prioritized for our welfare and security, they are consuming it with relish. This was the conversation we refused to have before this election. cut down on corruption. Those that remove subsidy from you are still driving a fleet of convoys that are being paid for by government. They are still appointing aides. Your speaker just appointed, your speaker of the parliament just appointed 33 aides in this first instance. Look, our political leaders are still behaving like drunken sailors aboard the sinking ship. And they're asking us to sacrifice. Do you know why government, after government have insisted on removing subsidy? You know why? That was the only thing that was effective in Nigeria. Despite the corruption associated with subsidy, the only thing that government was really spending money on was subsidy, because it must get to you, it must get to me at the pump. It is that one that gets to you that is paying government, not the corruption one, because if they divert this money to other avenues of expenditure, you can't even track it. If, for example, the government decides to say, we have used subsidy savings to vote for primary health care in your village, how will you go and ascertain whether it is there or not? Is there no fraud in procurement? Why is government not stopping procurement entirely because of the fraud associated with procurement? Is there no fraud in every aspect, including recruitment, including appointment of anti-corruption agencies? Is there no corruption associated with it? Why has government not disbanded Nigeria entirely? Because Nigeria is endemically corrupt. Why are we not telling government to fight corruption? It's the responsibility of government to fight corruption. It's the responsibility of government to fix refineries. It is a shame. It is a shame that an oil-producing country like Nigeria, a leading member of OPEC, does not have one functional refinery at home. It is a shame. That should be the conversation. It's not subsidy removal. The subsidy that they've removed is going to destroy our economy. It's already destroying it. You can see the numbers. No country survives high cost of energy. None. Energy cost in UK, the cost of living crisis in UK, that are still battling with today. Yes. Electricity subsidized in France. Our president went to France for a summit, right? The company that provides electricity in France is owned by the French federal government. And it subsidized electricity in France. That's why France wasn't affected by the cost of living crisis that affected UK. So, if there's anything that our president should have learned from France, it is subsidy on energy. But that France he went to, he should have learned there that Macron subsidizes electricity for his citizens. So when you go and celebrate subsidy removal as an achievement, you begin to wonder, are people in government actually thinking?
Because we're actually seeing, even from that France visit of the president, that investors are now having confidence because of the fact that oil subsidy has been removed.
Investors not having loss of confidence in the U.S. economy because the U.S. subsidizes food and subsidizes energy. The United States government spends an average of $50 billion every single year subsidizing fossil fuels and renewables. The largest component of American budget is 19%. It goes to social security and welfare, which is outright consumables. So why is America still the hub of both foreign and overseas investment? How come Saudi that subsidizes diesel, subsidizes petrol, subsidizes gasoline, subsidizes education to foreign studies level, subsidizes healthcare in addition to food? How come Saudi is still the hub of oil and gas investments in the whole world? Saudi Aramco, for example, is in partnership with oil multinationals in some of the most gigantic projects in the oil and gas sector in the world. How come Saudi has not crumbled because of subsidy on almost all energy resources and products? How come?
So is that another lie to
It's
the Nigerian
a huge
people?
lie. It is an application of responsibility on the part of government to tell you that subsidy on energy or petrol or any other energy product is a disincentive for foreign investment. It is not just a lie, but a senseless lie. You know, I've been making this point even before the election that it was a flawed narrative for the three candidates to all call us subsidy removal as the campaign promise, like telling you I'm going to inflict pain on you as a campaign promise.
And Nigerians bought into that.
Because they have been deceived. You see, they trusted some of this, switch wearing, Cockney accent, English speaking, social media and economic pundit celebrities that come on air to bamboozle. And I think the media is complicit in this. The media didn't challenge its orthodoxy for so long that it permeated, and Nigerians began to see subsidy as something that was bad instead of making a distinction between government corruption and subsidy. It is your business to be corrupt. It's my business to receive subsidy. So I will tell you as government that it is against your constitutional oath of office to be corrupt and not be able to contain corruption or tame corruption. To tell me that Nigeria is spending too much of its own revenues on subsidy is not the fault of Nigerians. It is not something that prevented you from ramping up crude oil production for export up to the quota given to you by OPEC. Is it me that cost some oil theft in Niger Delta? Am I supposed to be bank securing pipelines? It's not the responsibility of government. Talking about smuggling. It's when our governments talk about removing subsidy because of corruption and smuggling. You are telling the whole world that your country is corrupt and it's not having security. How can tankers of petrol, according to you, leave your borders into neighboring countries and as far as Sudan? That is the failure of government. It means if you cannot prevent tankers from leaving Nigeria with subsidized petrol, how are you going to prevent arms, small and light arms, from coming to Nigeria? So who am I the one who appointed the CG of custom, the CG of immigration, the CG of all other border-related security outfits? Is it Nigeria that appointed them? We are paying taxes because you, as government, we have surrendered our sovereignty to you. So it's your responsibility to protect us all around, our borders, our lives, our homes, everywhere, our streets, our highways. We need to tell government to go back and take up their responsibility. Because already, they have no subsidy of petrol. They're going to introduce new taxes. They're going to increase electricity tariff. They are going to continuously suck us dry until they have something to suck from again. And they're also planning to take more loans. You know why? Because government is not productive. Look at where our government have been running. Even this new government. Our president have been traveling up and down. When the work is actually at home. You think anybody will come and invest in your country if you're not put in place what is what attract investment, which is security and stability, social stability? Nobody will come. You think that is the job of a president? It's not the job of a president. A week after the inauguration of our new Senate president, the next thing we saw was he was flying one of the aircraft in the presidential jet to go and attend the burial ceremony of one of his predecessors with all his entourage. A country that citizens are dying and suffering and hungry, that citizens have sacrificed so much that they cannot buy a ram to sacrifice this year for Salah. You have your political officer that still behaving as if it is party as usual, and somebody still focusing on subsidy. The Buhari administration removed subsidy in 2016, and that was why Nigerians we are thrown into the poverty circuit. We have 133 million multidimensionally poor Nigerians. That was the legacy of the Buhari administration. Part of the reason for that was his model of subsidy on vital and essential energy products and services. So it was a failure, cumulative failure of the government of the Buhari administration and its successor now to remove subsidy. You see, I've been a bit ambivalent about this thing because it was a national consensus on the issue of inauguration for the president to remove subsidy. But at this point, we've seen the effect. I expect him to be having a new kind of thinking now. This thing is not sustainable. Even though champions subsidy, we're not talking about palliatives. Palliatives is subsidy. The most important palliative Nigeria needs today is subsidy on energy, so that we can power our homes and power our business places to be productive. So subsidy of petrol was subsidy of production, not consumption, as was widely misrepresented in the media.
All right. So, Mujidu, where do we go from here, really? And what should the government be doing to deal with this corruption aspect of the whole matter you're talking about? Because this has been on over the years, and no government seems to have been able to deal with that. And I'm asking this because there are also some people talking in some quarters. I actually watched an interview where somebody who is also in the oil sector did say that, somebody who has been benefiting from oil subsidy went to the president, that's Buhari at the time, and said, I am tired of making money from subsidy. Please remove this. So where does this place Nigerians really?
Whoever said this, this is part of that propaganda in the media that gets Nigerians confused all of a sudden. How can you say somebody went to the president and said, I'm benefiting from oil subsidy, remove it? Why was that person not arrested immediately and prosecuted and made to cough out the illegal benefits he's making from subsidy? How is that supposed to be my business? It is government that licenses people that import petrol. It is government that conducts the business of subsidy. It is government that is corrupt about the subsidy administration. Nobody, not even the marketers, not even another person. It is government. The corruption itself is government. So it is government that needs to rid itself of corruption. Once government decides not to be corrupt, corruption ends.
So what should Tinubu be doing at this time?
Tinubu should take a firm commitment and take a decision to fight corruption. I've not had him since his inauguration make a firm commitment to two things: cost of governance and cutting down or elimination of corruption. Every government must aim to eliminate corruption. If you are corrupt, you can never make any form of progress. Forget it. No policy will work for you because it will be distorted. It will be converted to state capture at the end of the day. So all he needs to do is to take that decision, if he hasn't taken it before, to fight corruption. And we must see that in the way business is being conducted in his government. It is important. That is on his own part. And secondly, Nigeria must have a rethink about his political and economic philosophy. And I've said this severally. You see, Nigeria is like Unoka. Unoka, Ukonko's father in Fall Apart. He sits at home every day and plays flute. And he borrows money from everybody in Umo, in the village of Umofia. And so he became so indebted that he couldn't pay his debts. And he died an indebted man. That is how Nigeria is. We borrow without working. But his son, Okonkwo, was a hard-working farmer. At the time, he borrowed seedlings, yam seedlings. He borrowed yam seedlings. But he planted them in his farm, worked on his farm, harvested them, paid back his seedlings and made profits. So we should borrow to do business and do the work. Government should go back to doing business. It is wrong. It's a wrong narrative to say that government does not do business. It is the idleness of government that has seen the effect now. No government has anything to do anywhere. Look at Kaduna State, for example. When we were all growing up in the 80s and 90s, Kaduna was the hub of textile industry in Nigeria. Created jobs, created prosperity. Did you hear of riots in Kaduna in those days? Because everybody was busy. And then a certain ideology crept in that government should have some means of production. And so the government of Kaduna today is indebted to over $500 million. And there is no enterprise to show for it. All they did with it was to do urban renewal in the center of Kaduna, and that's all. That cannot pay for that loan. What that money should have been used for was to resuscitate the textile industries in Kaduna and run them profitably. The way China runs its enterprises profitably, the way Saudi Arabia does it profitably, the way Singapore does it profitably. Olam is in Kaduna processing rice. Olam is a Singaporean company that is backed and supported by the Singaporean government. So being that every bag of rice you buy from Olam, you are paying Singaporean government. That is how governors, a government of every other country, grow their wealth of nation. You cannot sit down and think that anybody can do it for you. The investors are trying to invite to come to Nigeria are coming to target your internal business. So they open businesses that will target your citizens' patronage and repatriate their monies back home via capital flight. So it does little or nothing to you because government will not get real revenue beyond taxation. And what I'm saying is something that government has done before. Look at the LNG, for example. Government has an investment in LNG, 49%. That's why every year we get dividends from LNG because it is well managed. Government allowed it to run. That is doing business, allowing it to run well in partnership with IOCs. So they pay us dividends in billions of dollars every year. They also pay taxes. They also employ people. Those people also pay to the state government where they are domiciled. These are the kind of things we want to see across board. And so the states of the Niger Delta should go and think of how to build refineries in their states. The states of the Benue Valley, Taraba, Plateau, and Benue should start investing in agro-processing industries. States like Kogi, that's why with solid mineral endowment, must begin to set up cement factories and all other solid mineral processing factories, state-owned, in partnership, of course, with other investors. But the state must put its own money down. So the governors must cut down this bazaar they're doing. Most of them come to Abuja and just go back, really do nothing in their states. Are you not surprised that, despite the fact that the president has signed into law an enabling legal framework to allow states to generate, transmit, and distribute electricity, only a handful of number of states are even thinking about putting in place a framework to even attract investment into the electricity sector of their states. It's as if the law is not even existing. Because the governors are so busy either demolishing roundabouts or going to their predecessor's house to tow vehicles or sacking local government, elected local government officials. It is chaos everywhere. I expect Nigerians to continue to take the brunt of your idleness, of your incompetence as leadership. A time will come that people will no longer watch drunken sailors derail their sinking ship.
All right, Majid, so some people will say really...
So my people, I couldn't stop that video because every part of it was, like every part is important, top notch. There's no other way for me to explain it. This guy did in fact, he did a good job. When I say good, excellent. So he explained it in real terms, like everybody will understand. And that's why I say, okay, let's everybody watch this video. If you haven't come across this video, this is a very good one. Listen. I know say for Nigeria data they pay like pepper, but you know what? I think knowledge is a very good thing. Listen to this video and see how they have been manipulating us, telling us about oil subsidy and all of that. Now, so oil subsidy not good. Let me tell you, oil subsidy is not supposed to be removed, or electricity subsidy and all of that. If a country remove that, citizens, it cannot sustain the citizens. How can you be doing business now? Money to this is my glasses case. The money to produce this thing maybe 5 naira, and the cost is supposed to be how much? How much to sell it? Maybe 3 naira. So I'm aiming at 2 naira to produce, and then sell it at 3 or 4 naira, so I can get a 2 naira profit. But because I have to go buy high cost of fuel and high cost of electricity to produce this thing, how much you say it would be? How much? It's not sustainable. People are dying. People are crying. I've never heard of the corrupt government say they want to fight corruption. That one not go. It not go happen. Our corruption want to fight corruption. And again, the high cost of governance is alarming. I don't know where they go. He's saying carry himself go France, that they carry the whole world. Look at all those cars. They were fueled. They have to pay all those ants. Wait for one. Whether not bees that they call them, no. Wait for one entourage. They have to pay all of them. The cost of governance is alarming. It's in the negative. This is a country where the citizens are suffering. If you have the feeling for the citizens, you are not supposed to behave like that. What were you going to say in France? How much more? What were you going to say in France that you invited the whole world to follow you? And when you got there, you couldn't even say one word. Now let's go give Macron a hug. After you hug him, then they begin put out for newspaper, say you feel go wrong, go meet Macron. What did you say in France? Nothing. Nothing. An insensitive government, this is how people suffer. Thing where you're not supposed to be your own, you carry, you don't know what to do. Even the people where they follow you, they go, they not tell you what to do. This guy, in name Majid Dahiru, he has explained it in real terms. Please go back to the video, watch the video and share this video. This is the lie they've been telling you about oil subsidy. Because they only want their circle. All other human beings in Nigeria does not matter. Now only them. So it's a pity. My people, share this video. Watch, like, comment, and share this video. Okay? Thank you very much for coming on. I gotta leave now. Share this video. And I want to see your comments there. Please. This very information is very important for you and other people. Don't keep it to yourself. Others should also know the meaning of fuel subsidy, the corruption behind it, the corruption our government is going through. See, he has never talked about corruption. Then they pursue small girl, they go now say 4 jam result. Whereas the Tinubu himself, the result will carry the work cannot be in getter. Another day for that kind of talk.